right, so today we're installing the cams actually on the F-150 motor. Well, soon to be Mustang motor, I guess. We're installing Mustang cams. We already previously installed the oil pump. I actually ran into an issue between the two people I purchased the cams for, and I basically ended up purchasing two sets of intake cams instead of a set of exhaust and intake. So that kind of slowed me down a little bit, but I now have my exhaust pair in as well. And so I can get started on the cam install and removal of the old cam. All right, so the first step is going to be taking off the cam phasers on the old motor before we have to remove everything to put the new stuff on. But so here I'm going to take you through that. Basically, it's just held on. Each of these is held on by these 3 bolts here. These other ones are just to hold this other assembly together. These 3 main bolts you remove, and then you can pull this off. You'll see down under here, there's a tensioner, and then here as well. So it kind of works well to push down here to release the tension on the chain, and then you're usually able to either slide this guy off, it'll slide forward, or you can kind of lift the chain off of this by pushing down and just lifting right here. So you'll see there's some play there. So my new kit did come with some of these tensioners, so I'll probably take them off. I don't know. I'm looking at how to get it off right now. See if I can figure that out. Honestly, it doesn't look worn out or anything, but just because I have some new ones, I'll take this off. I also have some new filters, which I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's some filters that are actually inside of this recess here. And so my kit came with some new filters as well. So I'll be adding those, obviously. I'll add those to the new cams instead of having to, which I wouldn't recommend reusing these if you're ever taking out your cams. You can always buy some new ones. They're honestly really cheap, and you probably can't really get those out of there without damaging them. So, but yeah, so now we'll remove one side at a time. The big thing to remember here is that as we're removing these, we keep them both in the same position, meaning kind of like this flat part needs to stay up top here, and on this part, this curved part needs to stay at the bottom. And we'll also keep them kind of in the same order, so that way you don't have to worry about having any issues. I've heard you can have issues like they may not fit or something like that, and if you look, like, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's actually numbering in there. Honestly, if you forget, they are numbered, and if you made like a mental reference of this order prior to removing these, you'll be able to get them back on regardless. But the easiest way I found, I just have a box here labeled front, left. Obviously this would be right and back. And so I'm just gonna kind of sit these in the order that I removed them from. And so that way I'll know when I come back, I'm just picking them up and putting them right back where they came at. So that's my method. Like I said, if you wanna write down the numbers that are inside of those recesses, you can. If you're just gonna remember it, obviously that works too. But for me, I think that's the easiest way to do it. just sit them down in the order that you took them off, and then you'll be able to throw them right back on. There's not a lot of thinking involved, not a lot of margin for error, as long as you don't kick your box or something like that. So yeah. So you'll see as I was removing these, I was just laying them in order. So here's my top row, here's my bottom row. These are oriented like top. So this is the top, this is the bottom. So it just keeps it real simple. When I go to put it back on, I just know bringing this one up, turn it straight up, and just sit it right back in place. There are actually kind of two different size holes as well, if you can see. So there's like little, I don't know what you want to call them, dowels or whatever, to that kind of seat in these holes, and it may come through, it may not, but there's one that's definitely bigger than the other, and so there's a larger one here that you just know seats right in there. All right, so you'll see here I got my cam shafts laid out. These two are actually left and right intake, and these two are left and right exhaust. So basically the way I had to figure this out was I was reaching out back and forth with the guys who sent me them both. Apparently there's some kind of proprietary tool, so they weren't exactly telling me the correct part numbers, but I guess from what I can deduce, 270 and 271. So if you look, there's part numbers here. And so 270, 68, 270. And then like you'll see like a FR3, whatever, 68271 is the middle number there. And so it may not come through, but I'll list them on the screen or something like that. But so 270 and 271 are intake, and then this is 272 and 273. And based off of what my motor has, it seems like the odd numbers go on the on the left side, and the even numbers go on the right. So at least that's what I've seen. We'll see if that's true when I put it together, and if I'm all the way off with that, then you know, I'll throw a correction in there or something like that. But so here are the cams. We're gonna get the left side in place. We haven't taken apart the right side, of course, with the way we have it positioned and stuff. We're gonna do one side at a time. So we're gonna take the two left side cams, which are the driver side cams, and we're going to put those in now. So when putting them in, you might be like, how do I know which side's left or right? Like I said, there's a numbering thing, but even if that's off, they really won't fit but one side from what I understand. So your intake won't fit, like the lobes won't line up right. So you won't be able to drop it in. So like if you look, and if you saw on the video, it kind of just fell into place easily. So you just kind of slowly rotate it, get it slightly in position, and just slowly give it a little rotation and it'll fall in. Like, and you'll be able to tell where it kind of sits in there in each spot. And then that's how you know where you need to be. So it's really kind of one of those things, once you're doing it, it kind of feels natural. So you don't have to really guess or learn to, like there's not too much of a secret. Once you're in there, you'll kind of get a feel for it and you'll know when it seats the same way it was when you came out. Obviously you can keep an eye on the position of the cams and kind of try to replicate that. Like kind of knowing, hey, I had 2 up here, 2 kind of sideways to this side or whatever. So you can kind of eyeball it that way. So I kind of had a mental picture, but you don't have to. Like I said, it'll only sit down and really seat perfectly one way. So just to quickly revisit those filters I mentioned, basically these little guys right here. So they just look kind of like little small filters. And so they'll actually go in this side, kind of pointing inward. And so they'll kind of go right in here and you'll be able to kind of push them in place and feel them kind of seat where they need to be. And you can't really see inside there, but so I figured I'd show you kind of with them outside, me putting them in. And if you're confused, always use the parts that you take off as kind of a reference, and you'll see actually down in there, you can see that filter now a lot better when I take it out and have the light on it, and it's facing in the same orientation. So you can always look at your old parts and say, hey, how is this put in? Like I said, I don't recommend reusing those. And if you buy like the Ford Racing timing kit like I did, you won't have to, because it comes with all of that stuff. All right, guys, so that was part one of the cam removal and install and the whole process of the timing and everything. So our next video, of course, we have the cams installed, so we're gonna put in the phasers and we're gonna focus on timing the motor and like the full process of that. And so then we'll do the other side, same thing. But for right now, obviously, we need to focus on getting this left side of the motor squared away and timed. So thanks for watching. Come back next time to see the rest of the process. After the next video, we should have the motor fully, the cams and phasers and everything fully put in and fully timed, and it'll essentially be a Mustang motor at that point. And then after that, we'll do a video on the accessories and kind of getting the timing cover with the new power by the hour bracket and all that setup. But thanks for checking out the video. Thanks for coming to the channel. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.